Welcome to this journey where we dialogue with thought and heart leaders to share their reflections on human condition and how to improve them.
Welcome, Yogesh ji.
Thank you.
It's so different and so beautiful to start something with silence, and we don't find silence. Actually, we don't need to find silence. It's inside. We just don't tap into it. How did this idea of starting things with silence come about? Because I was exposed to this idea almost 4 or 5 years back when I came across this interesting anecdote that Google starts some of their meetings with 1 minute silence. So how did this idea?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, as I got in current phase of my life, started working in Gandhi Ashram in Ahmedabad. So I was surprised, like every activity they will start with 1 minute silence to anchor yourself and get into whatever you propose to do it fully. And it got so much close to my heart that I almost started doing everything. Every major activity with the silence to help you to put yourself in complete focus.
Interesting. So let's start with the beginning of your life. Can you share with us some of your early childhood memories? What are the faintest of the memories that you have of as a child?
I believe my father contributed a lot in my upbringing and putting in seeds of Gandhian values at very young age. Like any young children, we were 3 brothers and we used to make mischief and all. But he'll never punish us. Or he'll punish us, but he will take punishment himself also.
Interesting.
Saying that there is something wrong in my upbringing. Like typical example, I remember like any child, घर में करेला बनाया नहीं खाना है. He'll make you eat. He'll eat for himself. If you don't eat, he'll never punish, but he'll become murga and not sit for half an hour till you eat that.
Oh.
Yeah. So today, as a matter of fact, I can realize that how much blessing when I go and walk in unknown areas. I have no item which I can say, I don't need this. The seeds were so strongly put in. So we all brothers eat everything. And we are tuned to, eat everything, clean plate, wash plate from very young age.
Nice.
Also one more thing, very strongly influenced my life is we had a practice. When mom cooks, 1 roti goes to a cow, 1 roti goes to a dog, 1 roti goes to a crow, and 1 to Atithi Devo Bhava. That I have seen in practice at home from 55, 60 years. So we were built up in that, and father used to be villain in those days because दौड़ के बाहर से आया है खाना खाना है. माँ से नहीं, this is for kutta, this is for this is that, and she'll stop. At that time you used to get really bugged because that time mental maturity was not there to understand value of this. So today when people feed me, after every yatra, I bow to my father because those days understanding was not there. Today you understand that what seeds he has put in, today I'm just getting benefit when I walk.
And you know what? This reminds me of an interesting social scientist. His name is Philip Zimbardo.
Uh-huh.
So there is an experiment. I think it's his experiment. I'll plug in later on if this is not the right name. But the experiment is called as the marshmallow experiment. So what they do is they bring in a bunch of children in a friendly room, and somebody as a researcher would walk in, and the child doesn't know he's a researcher, and the child is sitting, and they keep a marshmallow in front of the child. Now they tell the child that the researcher says that I'll go out of the room, you can have the marshmallow, but if you don't have it, I'll come back and give you 2. So it's an experiment to understand delayed gratification. And the idea, and I think a lot of ancient Indian philosophies talk about delayed gratification through fasting. So what I hear is the early seeds of delayed gratification instead of going in for that instant gratification that we all seek on the notification on social media, or we can't stay away from salt or sweet. So this is such wonderful. Your home had a sort of a marshmallow experiment.
Absolutely.
In some way.
So we all so many things. Like I remember a couple of things. My father was working for LIC, so we were given phone to communicate with people. In entire street of ours, where about 650 houses were there, we had only one phone. So it was strict instruction. Anybody calls up those days, you call somebody. Again, that was not coming in our mind that how this makes sense.
Right.
But today you understand, in the era where we are living, everybody has two phones.
Yeah.
You go back and say 650 families between
Sharing a phone.
you have one phone. So I think lives have changed a lot, but yes, those seeds has really brought in that understanding, that gratification today. And especially feeding people has been our daily experience.
Interesting.
We have animals.
Yeah.
Feeding people.
Okay. So I remember when we did Thank You India experiment and Bhumi, your daughter,
Yes.
was working with us. I think somehow from the team this idea came. I think it was Kavin or Genevieve, I think. And then we started having food with police. So we realized that these guys they have their own toil, and I'm not getting into why they're corrupt and why they'll work less or whatever. I don't want to get into the judgmental part of it, but I can say that most of the time when we had food with them, where sometimes we cooked and sometimes got a caterer, but when we had food with them, there was a very different sharing that would happen. So it's interesting you also talk about food as an important.
Hemant, I'd like to thank you specifically on this particular point. In our house, how it impacted, I'll share a story.
Okay.
When Bhumi was working with you, my younger one was 14.
Sakshi.
Yeah, and those days, a lot of the challenge about youth and teenage been, raped and variety of challenges in society.
Yeah.
So Bhumi inspired Sakshi that we should distribute sweets in police station on your birthday. And it was so tough for me. I had never been to police station in my life.
Okay.
But to young guys, he said, Daddy, I want to go and distribute sweets in police station. And now I can't say no to child. So we went to police station here and check. I said, how many police you guys are here? He says, we are 200 people. I said, okay, I'll bring 200 sweets, and my daughter's birthday today, she wants to distribute to you guys. Brought in sweet. The experience was so much touching. The head of department picked up my daughter on her lap and says, Beta, if you guys give love like this, we'll become human. Because we stay with criminals all the time, we also become like that. That was very touching compliment we received from police that time. And then onwards, to tell you, every Diwali, I distribute sweets in whichever city I am in police station, because they can't get chutti.
Yeah, they are safeguarding our festival.
Yes, so we celebrate, but we don't understand the background work done by these guys.
Yeah.
So that day onwards, almost now 8 years now, 7-8 years, every Diwali, and children come together, we distribute sweets in whichever city we are in to police station. So that's a seed we picked up from you.
No, I think I also must have learned from some teachers, so I should thank them. Moving on, you interestingly brought in something something that is a segue to the next question. You mentioned about teenage year and Sakshi being in that 14. Can you share some of your memories about your own teenage years? Like, were you mischievous? Were you having all kinds of things that you would do, and then or what kind of teenager were you?
I believe that the biggest memory I have is again coming back to my father. He gave us complete freedom to do whatever we wanted to do it, which was very unusual in those days. And one of the things I remember is that when I was just maybe 12, he sent us on 1 month picnic. Entire Diwali vacation those days used to be 28 days. 28-day picnic. And I mean, we were from lower middle class, but he says, this is going to impact your life. You will meet so many number of people, so many culture, values, so go in this. So it was not that we wanted to pursue further that we want to go. He sent us. So two of brothers, we went together on that 28 days picnic, and that was, typically for a lower middle class family, from the area you stay, you get connected to so many cities and so many culture and so many values that stays back in our memory today. That was like first time went to Nepal also, and we used to take pride in this. I have traveled internationally those days.
Yeah.
Nepal was like still, but
Yeah.
so I have very strong memories of the days. We were a group of 32 children, and most of the guys were from upper class. So how you engage with them? So lots of social challenges is engaging with people, engaging with new culture and values. So that confidence and freedom of letting us do what we want, and through experimenting hands-on has been the biggest gain of my life.
In fact, this is interestingly reminding me of a professor in Harvard University. His name is Michael Sandel, and he's a professor of public philosophy and justice. In fact, today we see in the world there is a new phenomena called open online classrooms. They're called MOOC, MOOC. And he was one of the first guys in the world to publish all his lectures from Harvard online, and became one of the most popular online lectures. So he mentioned that one of the things that he feels we're getting trapped in, people in the urban society, is this whole concept of gated community, where we engulf ourselves in a small gated community and the same kind of people stay, and we don't run into people of different strata, we don't interact with them except for transactions. And his point was that if we spend time with them, if we spend slightly extended time with them, we would try to understand each other's reasons for values that we nurture. So what I see is what you got there in Mom is something very close to this kind of thing.
And second, by very strong thing, as Atithi Devo Bhava, father used to bring monks and children and women every day for food at home.
Wow.
And so we had a completely different experience. Those guys sometime will come and हम लोग का 5 लोग का खाना एक आदमी खा जाएगा. And I mean, variety of people come, children come and they start sharing their stories. Uncle बहुत दिन से खाना नहीं खाया, ऐसा घर का खाना मिला. They will keep on 20-30 rotis like nothing for them. So you can imagine how much hungry that child would be. So we have seen that love and compassion in action from very childhood.
Yeah.
Even father was always strong believer of meditation. At this age of 94 today, he spent 1 hour meditation. And I cannot sit without back support, but he'll sit in center of the room. At this age, that much is commitment. So those days, everybody in our society know 8:30 to 9 o'clock is ye log ka meditation hoga. Lights will be off. So people will not come. Over a period of time, people knew about this practice. We used to invariably during meditation so jate the. Samajhta nahi tha what meditation is all about.
Right.
But yeah, the seeds over a period of time it brought in the value.
Right.
All those small things really brought in. So I believe trust, freedom, and childhood are the key contributor to my life today.
Interesting. Roshi, you have anything?
Yeah, so in your family, for your daughters and when auntie was with you, did you also have some kind of a ritual or you were meditating in your family or feeding people? Would you also initiate something of that kind in your family?
Not really in the first phase of life. I also got into my commercial peak at very young age, so this
How did
all
that
were
happen? Because you had a very different childhood.
yeah. But yes, one thing, feeding people whenever possibilities, I used to do that. But one thing I'm very conscious, and I did. Both the daughters have given freedom completely. Even for education, they decide. for their job, they decide. And whatever they decide, I'll honor. If I don't agree, I'll give. I say, this is what I feel, but still they take a call. So freedom is biggest contributor in my life. So I have ensured them with them. As a matter of fact, my younger were upset that, Daddy, you are not giving so much time and all. I said, Beta, you decide. If you need, you ask me question. But what you decide, I'll support you. Like example of police station I shared with you. Now, that's in her memories even today.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell her that, I am myself getting scared to go to police station. But she pushed me, and so meditation, all that is part of our life now in the second innings of my life than those days. But yes, the freedom part I consciously inculcated in my children.
Interesting. You mentioned that, in fact, I think one of the things I want to pick up from what Rashmila mentioned is, you have this culture in the family by your father, by your mother, of so many strong values, and you live them. But you also are very candid, and I'm happy and thankful to you for being so that. And during those times where you continue to do and follow what they were saying, you really did not assimilate the meaning, the deeper meaning of them. And perhaps because of that, when you were in your commercial avatar, you could not really connect it and integrate it in your commercial avatar. It's also interesting and fascinating that, it was time when India as a country moved on from being an agrarian economy, and we did not know when did we jump and become a services economy, because most of the economies of the world have moved from agrarian to industrial to services. But we took the leap. We never went big way industrial. And IT was one of the biggest torchbearers of that. You've been in the industry. You worked in that industry for 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. And you were traveling globally. Can you share some bit about what you did during those days and how life back then was different from your home environment, and how did you struggle, or did you struggle with the values dissonance of what you were taught as a child and what you're functioning as a corporate?
See, as a matter of fact, I did commerce graduation simply, and I was studying for my costing. And I got into an employment opportunity as management accountant trainee. And I thought it's the right time I should start supporting father. So inspired, he said no, I took this job. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea, no dream ever that I'll be in IT. So I had training for 18 months. I don't know what part of my personality they noticed. Within 8 months, they confirmed me on, instead of 18 months, within 8 months. And within 1 year, they said, Yogesh, we'll put you into EDP department. Those days, there was no IT. Electronic Data Processing Department. Yeah. So I was in a way thrilled, but I said, sir, I don't know, other than spelling of computer, I don't know anything about the computer. I know computer spelling, that's all. He said, don't worry, Yogesh, we'll train you on everything. So 1980 is the time I got into IT, just the little time before IBM was thrown out by Indian government. Yeah. And there were a lot of new Indian small companies were taking on. So I was blessed to be in IT. It just happened. And almost for 7 years then on, till 1987, I kept on doing various diplomas in various courses. So there was the very unique way of doing. So company sponsored almost all the courses. I had no technical background. So in Bombay, NITI in Powai. Yeah. So I did a 6-month diploma there. Then Bhagubai Polytechnic, I did diploma. Datamedics diploma. So variety of, right from Pascal, Fortran, COBOL.
All the languages.
Yeah, all the languages and all, I learned that. And that's how life in IT started. I was also blessed to be getting first computer from Wipro, where Ajin Premji himself came and installed the inaugurated system at our place.
Interesting.
So 82-83 period time. Wow. I think Wipro started in 82 and 83 was our first machine in Nariman Point Bharat Gears. So good memories of that. And then Ashok Shuta also got connected. So that was good engagement, completely from a zero scratch. You build up a new department and take on. Yeah. So there also a lot of confidence and support came from management. Then some other yes, greed caught me. That IT is booming up and people have been paying X amount of money. But I came from a account background, so my salary was put in line with accounts only. So in a Mafatlal group of company, I got opportunity, double of salary. And naturally, young guys, 25, 26. So I caught on that. So I shifted after 7 years into Mafatlal. But that, in a way, was very depending situation. But yes, 1 year I struggled to get onto mainframe and do that. But yes, that 1 year struggle also paid me up, and I started department once again from a zero to thing. And that was first time in '87 I was exposed to go to US. And for IT guys, like for a Muslim brother to go to Makkah Medina is the thing, where for IT guy to go into US was major thing. So '87 first time, and I remember till the time I brought ticket home, my father didn't believe me that company is sending me to US. Even I had no idea that plane में दो माला होता है. Plane also has first class. And first exposure to, so I was blessed to be going by first class, first time ever to US. So in Mafatlal, being a corporate house, they had thing only senior people go. Whoever goes by first class. So I was that way pretty junior, but yes, he said that rule applies, and I was first time sitting in 747 jumbo in a first floor seat and going to US first time. So that was good exposure. And then onwards, US has been my second home. Almost 100 plus visit to US.
Wow.
There was a time where I used to travel every 15 days to US, and so almost 7 years I did 15 days India, 15 days US.
Wow.
So anyway, beginning happened in '87. Then also greed continued at some point because IT was just picking up in India a big way, and I realized that if I really need to grow, I need to get into consulting firm than being an end user environment. End user will develop ABC system and then life will stand. And in those days, what you computerize was accounting system or things around accounting. There was nothing else like system today.
Kind of
Yeah.
like that.
So I developed all those systems, and then what to do now? You get into maintenance mode. So there is no challenge, no growth coming in maintenance mode. But during the time in Mafatlal IT, they were very clear that you are the only person in the company. You may have 2-3 support staff, but beyond that, actual development, you get it done through outsourced company.
So you're interfacing between the company and the vendor.
Yes.
In a sense.
So I got through my ex-bosses, I connected and talked with people. So somebody recommended company Mastech. So precisely 85 August is the time I connected Mastech. I could find youth of my age, 4 founders, and they were doing things themselves. So I engaged with them, and then I did 1 project and 2 projects, and then it went on and on. So equation matched, way of thinking matched, and really helped both. I remember Mastech this time was 20 people company. And so they also, with IT boom, they were growing. So after a point, I realized that if I continue in Mafatlal, yes, my growth will be curtailed. And they offered me immediately taking my wife's. So I shifted to hardcore IT company. And that was in a way, a major turning point in my life. And I think right from the time I got into IT, I never seen back. I remember I used to leave home morning 6 o'clock because you had to do some classes and then go to office. And some deep gratitude was always there that company is spending on your training, you need to give extra step. So I don't remember I would have ever come back home before 10 o'clock night. So 6 to 10 was like typical time almost for 7-8 years. That also built up my foundation very strong. And all those learning came up very handy in IT consulting Mastech. And in Mastech time also I grew up at very high speed. And they realized my potential and sent me for management development program in IIM Ahmedabad. And I had a dream of IIM Ahmedabad because all the founders from IIM Ahmedabad. But I could never think about that I'll be there. So that was big milestone for me and big satisfaction. And I remember typically in this program you submit a project at the end of it. I have very strong memory, 72 hours no sleep to do that project. I may not have done in my graduation or my schooling college days, but that particular thing, 72 hours no sleep. I crashed down after the presentation, but very strong good memories of that.
Interesting.
And that's how somehow even IIM Ahmedabad, I got associated with many professors and all that. So that association also lasted for a long time. So that really changed, foundation on management side as well as technical side.
I have one curiosity since you're still in the memory lane of the corporate years.
Yeah.
Are there any salient ethical dilemmas that you face? Can you share any anecdote or something where you really were caught between, what should I do between these two options or multiple options? Anything that you came across, and how did you get over with your ethical dilemma there?
Yes, with my experience of before joining Mastech was in end user environment, so EDP.
Yeah.
So here they wanted a person to head their EDP department because every IT company will have their own EDP also.
Correct.
So I was made in charge of that. I was also being a Gujarati from a commercial background, made in charge of global purchase also. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to purchase, ethical values are always a big question.
Yeah.
And especially working in SEEPs, which is a bonded area, restriction of movement of goods as well as people.
Correct.
So in those bureaucratic environment, always there are challenge of ethical values. And in my earlier organizations like Diwali gifting and all was way of life.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pinching me with my upbringing. So in terms of ethical values, moment I took over charge of global purchase and EDP, I stopped all that.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we had tough time with operational people, but I said no accepting or giving gift, no bribing at the gate to take material out.
Mm-hmm.
And there was bureaucracy process was pretty challenging. I said we'll do whatever it takes time. As a matter of fact, I had tough time for management also because the process will take double the time.
Correct.
So sometime, in the commercial world, to achieve your time commitment, you compromise. But I was trying to put in. But one level, I'm happy that yes, there were challenges. But over a period of time, people supported. And those were the time, again, freedom helped me a lot. In Mastech, I was given complete freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And trust from management, what I got in my childhood from my father, that really helped me replicating there. So we had set very strict standards about values, especially in purchase, no accepting, giving gift. Everything is vetted by 2 levels of people and signed jointly.
Mm-hmm.
So my upbringing, my Gujarati businessman background helped me, and I mixed that with my technical education. So I was a good blend of that. I remember those days I also used to manage technical recruitment. And I was first given laptop by company when founders didn't have laptop. He says, our role doesn't demand that. You are moving for recruiting people here and there, so you need to have laptop. So I remember those days I used to carry a laptop and a small printer to print appointment letter and give to people. And I used to travel all across. So traveling then become a way of life for me. And as well as for a young guy, once you get hands-on tool, you start dabbling around and, start playing that. So it was good days to work on. And today, I just visited Mastech and looked at the same role I used to play. Today is managed by 5 departments. Because company was small. When I joined, company was of 200 people. And after amazing 16 years of career there, When I left, we were 5,000 people company. So a lot of freedom and confidence also gave me exposure to go outside. And suddenly in one of the appraisal, I was talking with my boss that today we are buying so many hardware from so many big companies, buying software. Can we try and look at their software, they can give it to us? And he says, Yogesh, try. That gave me option of talking to Dell. We used to be large buyer of Dell. So then I got engaged directly with Mr. Michael Dell and talked about how they can outsource their services to us. Similarly with Microsoft.
So that was the start of the offshoring of
Absolutely, services. Yeah. And that's how then I was made in charge of global partnership. So I started working on, from my earlier role, I put down and then took global partnership. That's the reason I used to travel so much to US.
And you mentioned that you interacted with people like Dell, Michael Dell, and
yeah.
I think at Microsoft you interacted with.
So those days, those people also were looking for option, but they were not having their offshore sites in India. So we offered them first. So then that was like a new thing for them to digest.
Experiment for them.
Yeah. And being a larger customer, in a customer meet, you used to interact with the founder of the organization, so Michael Dell, Bill Gates. And they were not coming so frequently to India also. So once in a while they come and, something like this new idea was caught on by them. So I had fortune to take my management and we had joint meeting and discuss about possibility of doing that. And they invited us to go to their headquarters in Round Rock in Austin, Texas, as well as in Seattle.
Interesting.
So
Great.
that went on.
Yeah. Anything?
Yeah, I noticed that you were traveling a lot in your corporate life, and now also you're traveling. Because yesterday I was telling my mother about you, that I'm going to meet somebody like you. And so she asked me, so where does he stay? So I said, he's traveling, so he stays wherever, it's not like one place.
I think you can quote the Bengali version of it.
Yeah, so it's similar to the Hindi line. So she asked me, to she kothay thake? Where does he stay? So I said, she cholte thake, which means कि वो चलते रहते हैं, and then I cracked her up, वो चलते रहते हैं, वो वहीं रहते हैं. So
आपका रहना चलने में ही है.
This reminds me of, our surname is Mathuria.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
And I was asking my father that this is unusual surname. What is reason behind our surname? Typically we are Gujarati Baniyas, so we are Shah or Mehta. I said, what is so much about? So he opened out stories and told me that 4 generations back, 5 villages around our area in Gujarat, some 182 people took bullock cart and went to Mathura. In those days, bullock cart was the way of life, and only you have to carry cash to go in these yatras. So people used to get murdered, or maybe out of age and robbing and all those challenges. So only 70 people turned back. So the village people celebrated those 70 people's life, and those who came, their surname got changed to Mathuria.
Interesting.
So traveling is in my DNA.